Hello and welcome back to 6 Feet. Now I would like to go ahead and remind, and I will probably remind for each part, this series is an angst with no happy ending, but it is still essential if you would like to see the alternative ending, which does contain a happy ending. Now, this was originally just going to be a one-shot, and in my head I'm like, yeah, okay, maybe we can get it done in like 3 parts. No. After writing this part, I'm like, oh, there is still so much more I could do. Realistically, this is probably going to be like 5 or 6 parts, and this is just the first ending, not even including the alternative ending that I'm going to be doing. So yeah, let's go ahead and get to it. Hello my lovely viewers, looking for some affordable and good quality anime merch? Want to support your favorite Haikyuu team or join UA? What about joining the Straw Hat Pirates for an adventure or two? Want to join the Black Wolves or the Fairy Tale Guild? Well, this site has that and so much more. Use my discount code and receive 10% off your entire order. Link and code is in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Anxiety crept through his skin and sabotaged his nerves. Osama held his hands tightly together, his fingers digging into the nerves at the back of his hands. His hands were clammy with cold sweats, and his stomach had crept into his throat. The spiker tried desperately to gather himself and speak level-minded, yet his own internal fear prevented him from doing so. Keeping Suna's words in mind, Osamu finally looked up from the table that he suddenly grown so entranced with and met his brother's gaze. Osamu, what's going on? The blonde reached over to take his twin's hands to try to soothe the tense grip he possessed, leaving deep indentions in his skin till the surrounding area turned to a pale white. Hey, talk to me. Are you feeling unwell? Osama shook his head and swallowed the lump in his throat, slowly gathering the courage to finally come clean. Suna was right. This was where his days of living in the shadows ended. This was where he needed to tell Atsumu the truth about what he wanted to do. There's been something I've been keeping from you. Atsumu narrowed his eyes, growing almost equally as tense as his brother, despising the suspense they created for each other. Is everything okay? Yeah, I think so. What's going on? You're worrying me. Taking a deep breath in through the nose, Osamu finally spoke what had been plaguing him since that call with Suna. You know how we want to go to school together and go pro? Of course I do. It's whoever scouts us. We'll go together, right? Osama looked back down at his hands, fidgeting with his fingers and picked at the skin of his nail beds. Well, about that. The satyr reached over and grabbed Osama's hand once more to stop him from abusing his skin any longer. Hey Samu, you can talk to me. I'll listen, so don't be afraid to tell me if something is on your mind. Breathe in. Breathe out. Finally, the younger met his brother's eyes with more courage than before. I don't want to do volleyball after high school. There. He said it. There's no turning back now. He couldn't. No matter how Atsumu reacts, he had to keep his promise to himself and Suna that he would continue moving forward. Even if his brother turned his back on him. Oh, that's it? What do you mean, that's it? Wasn't he supposed to get angry, shout, scream, literally hate him? Why did he seem accepting of his decisions? Atsuma chuckled, squeezing his brother's hands reassuringly, just as he used to do whenever they were kids, and he was a crybaby. Of course, I'm not mad or anything. If I'm being completely honest, I knew all along. If anything, I'm more upset at myself for pressuring my future onto you, and scared at the idea of taking a separate path than you. In a way, Osama knew exactly where the ladder was coming from. Just from the womb, they spent the beginning of their short lives together and grew up just the same, inseparable. Their parents had been those cheesy parents that dressed their twin boys in matching clothing and many other things similar to that throughout their childhood. Thanks to their father, volleyball became one of those many attributes to the Mia twins and made them even more inseparable. Without even knowing what their future entailed, everyone had simply assumed they wanted the same future when they grew up. Growing up and moving on with their lives wasn't something that had been accessible for them until he spoke up. This opened a world full of opportunities for the both of them. So, what do you want to do? Atsuma smiled softly. Osama could see the hidden sadness embedded within his golden gaze. Yet, as the supportive older brother, Atsuma still encouraged him. It was a big step, but they were going to go together, even if it was separate paths. I don't know. I haven't exactly gotten that far yet. I was more concerned about telling you than anything else. Well, you do know that having a set plan for your future would definitely assure me more than not. Those are just details. They laughed together for the first time since their tense conversation, still holding onto each other's hands, afraid to say goodbye, mirroring themselves as they were when they were children. Don't worry, we can look into a few things together when we get some free time after practice and see what you like. You definitely don't have to do this alone. Thanks, Sumu. That means a lot. Truly. He wasn't alone. Osama was absolutely terrified that by the end of this conversation he would be left by himself, trying to figure out how to start his own life, alone. But in truth, he never was alone. His twin wouldn't desert him, and he certainly wasn't his shadow. He was his own person, and it was thanks to Suna he was able to see that in himself. Back into the late night, where even the sun failed to show its presence, Osama's world still brightened, gazing at something much brighter than any mass ball of gas could ever provide. Suna's golden eyes resonated and glowed brightly, sticking out compared to the blue light of their screens. Hey, Suna. Osama chuckled when the latter turned back to the camera instead of the screen of their match on game. His hair was damp from what the middle blocker exclaimed as him just getting out of the shower. I finally told Sumu. I prepared myself to be hated, but he's supporting me. Did you ever doubt him? Logically, no, but my mind was convincing me otherwise. The raven nodded in understanding and offered a kind smile, leaning to the side and pressed his weight fully on the arm of his chair to adjust his position. Fair enough. It was probably scary, wasn't it? His belittling pride wanted him to deny the fact to save face, but with Suna, he felt safe to be his true self. Yeah, it was. Have you decided more of what you wanted to do? Well, me and Sumu looked. There isn't much I can start on so late in life. The spiker watched the ladder screen contorted into a fan, disapproving of his remark, making Osama chuckle again. Don't be ridiculous. It is never too late to start fresh. Well, I think I've always enjoyed cooking. My father used to be a chef, and I'd often help him in the kitchen growing up. Well, that's it. Just take a small course to refreshen your skills in cooking and start from there. You don't think it's a stupid idea? Why would I? Beneath the view of his camera, Osama began fidgeting with his fingers again. It was only then he realized the extent of his unhealthy habit. His nail beds were practically begging for a break from the abuse he put him through. I mean, cooking isn't necessarily a stable occupation. What if the business I start goes under and I lose all of my money in progress? Then we will tackle that problem once we hit that point. But there's no use in worrying or fearing of all the what-ifs. It will only hold you back in life. Don't be afraid to take risks. Sometimes those risks can flourish into something much greater than ever predicted. Finally retracting his hands, Osama smiled at the phrasing of Suna's words. We. What a beautiful word, filled with more possibilities than risk-taking. At this point, Osama could no longer deny his feelings. He was hopelessly falling in love with the strange boy he met on the internet. You really are an amazing person, Sunarin. Bloodshot caught an eyes peered at the flashing neon numbers on his screen. The power flickered over on his end and abruptly ended the video call on his PC, but it only served him as a reminder that it was now 3 a.m. Suna leaned back in his old creaky chair and laughed into his hands, fighting the pink hue that tried so desperately to creep on his cheeks. If he were to let that happen, he wouldn't be able to deny what he felt. He was completely and utterly a fool. But a fool in love. Yeah, so that concludes the second part to this series. Because I guess this is a series now. Do you see what I'm working with here? No, because stop. I try my best to make sure my series stay to a minimum of 2 ongoing series. So why did I start a third? To be fair, this was originally going to be a one-shot. There was no way of that happening. No way. So here's to hoping that I do not start a 4th until one of these are done. Yeah. Alrighty, and yes, thank you all of my duckers. You guys are super duper amazing. Thank you for all of the endless support. I will continue doing my best to get you all membership videos, because slowly we are racking up for early access videos. Like, hold on, I need to do the math real quick. Yeah, so including this video that I'm about to give my members, we have 13 early access videos. And I'm working on another one. Technically 2, but if I'm being completely honest, I don't know if I'm gonna get both of them done. We'll see. Special thanks to my 3 brand new members, Kumar, Furkyo, and Milky Way. And thank you, Nika, for gifting me all of these lovely members. And alright, I will see you all later.